Hey everybody, I'm happy to see everyone as always. And today we're gonna talk with David
Hello.
about some very important issues. And the issue number one on our list today is baggage, emotional baggage from our previous relationship. And I would like to ask David and let him share a little bit of his perspective on the whole baggage thing.
Hi there, everybody. Well, Veronika, it's right. You want to go into a new relationship fresh, and you want a couple things to happen. You shed your baggage. You want your mind clear. And I have this funny analogy. It's almost like you go to the airport with just a carry-on, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't bring these big heavy bags, and think of the
Ah,
analogy is you fill these bags with everything you might need. It's almost like you go to the next relationship with these big heavy bags and you put all your little problems in there and things that went wrong and you carry these and you're dragging them. But why not just put a carry-on and just walk on the plane fresh and say, well, when I get to the destination, I can buy new clothes. I can buy something I need. I just have the essentials, right? I just have the
mhm.
essentials. So that analogy, I think, works for this when you enter the new relationship. Travel
I
light,
like
travel
this.
light, travel light. Don't bring
I will tell you this. I
everything.
love this analogy, but my essentials are usually is a carry-on and a full-size bag.
Okay, well,
But hey, that's a difference. If I would be a guy, I would definitely travel with a backpack or one suitcase.
yeah,
Um,
and really, it's the mental baggage. So it's kind
yeah,
of like an emotional. So it's like your mind is clear. You've cleared your
yes,
mind from the previous relationship. There's always going to be good thoughts and bad thoughts from the previous relationship, but you're just looking forward. It's like the rear view mirror of a car. You don't
mhm.
need that. You need to look in front. Okay.
Yes, I agree with that. Now I was just joking,
Yes.
about
Yeah.
the actual luggage, but
Yeah.
I agree with it 100%.
And,
It's
and and this is what is going to bring out the most in the woman is that you come with a smile, a fresh mind. You're open.
Mhm.
Your heart. What I call it is open mind, open heart is what I call it. You're open for business. Okay, you're not protecting. You're not shielding. You're not holding back. You're giving it all, right? Because that's what's going to make it work. Is if you give yourself, you know and you don't hold back and like, oh well, I don't want to do that. She might reject me. She might, I better be careful. I got to be careful here and all this. That kind of stuff is not going to be successful, right?
I agree. I think developing trust and opening up is the only way to trust in your feelings. And sometimes you're gonna get hurt, sometimes you're gonna get heartbroken, but this is a part of life. And when you are on the guard all the time, you can be sure that nothing will happen, and you're gonna stay just like that.
Exactly.
Taking a risk is a part of life.
It is.
I think it's riskier to not take risk because you will surely stay right where you are.
That's interesting. It's riskier to not take risks. That is a really powerful statement. I completely believe in that. And and let's tie this into the Ukrainian woman too, because I went over there in November and I dated several women, and not a one would talk about a past relationship or bring baggage. Maybe they talk about their children if they have children, but their children are not baggage. Their children are part of their life. But from
Hmm.
previous relationship, not a one brought up anything. And I don't think they expect you to do that either. You know.
I have to say, some of our women would be very curious
Hmm.
sometimes about your past relationship. And if I would be making videos for ladies, I would definitely tell them to not ask and dig in the past. At some point you will share. This what the bottom line of something. If you decide to, but you don't have to.
But curious is one thing. Like for instance, I was showing one woman my photos, and it just so happened to be my ex was in one of the photos, and like,
Mhm.
who's that? And I would say who it is, but I don't say it and say, oh, that's so and so, and boy, and then go down some big rant. I just said, no, that's my ex. And she might
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, that's interesting. But
Yeah.
it just gives them a perspective, but it doesn't, you don't go down a session where you're ranting and it like,
Yes.
it detracts from the positiveness, the
Yeah.
energy. The energy. What you don't want to do is lose energy over this kind of thing. You want to keep it positive, right?
Absolutely, David. It's a great point. You have to keep the positive energy, and sometimes people have wonderful relationship. Then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, let's talk about our past." And like, you live in this beautiful now. You met the person you truly enjoy, and then all of a sudden, you know, things come out. And I think, uh, yeah, let's concentrate on now and on future, on what we can do. And if you have some issues mentally, maybe you should work with somebody. Maybe you need to work on getting over them, because they can hold you from beautiful present or beautiful future.
Yes.
Sometimes we have triggers. We have some issue in our relationship. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a new one, and something similar happened. But it's similar only on the outer. It has nothing to do. It can be totally different issue. For example, let's say, your ex, I don't know, um, she liked to go out, for example, and that was the only thing that she did. She only liked to go out, and your new woman is, wants to like go out like once in a while. But you project is like, oh, she doesn't want to cook for me. I'm not gonna take this for a minute. It's like, yeah, so it really depends on
And then the other thing is that, and you could tell me, being a Ukrainian woman, is that you probably will start wondering, if I keep bringing up my ex in conversation, you'll start to question whether I'm over it, or whether there's still
yes,
feelings. Maybe I'm still looking backwards and saying, what did I do wrong? What could I have done? And you haven't moved on.
yes,
Don't you want a man that has
absolutely,
moved on, right? You don't want one
yes.
who's still living in the past, right?
We don't want a man or a woman who's still living in the past. It's gonna hurt, and it's going to ruin your current relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I want to comment on what you said about keeping
Sure.
the positive vibe. It's super important to not be negative and say horrible things about your ex,
Yes.
because especially your Ukrainian woman, she will think, oh, okay, this is how he gonna be talking about me in a couple of years.
Right, right. Yeah, that's
Sometimes people have stories when really one of the partners, was, more on the negative side. Maybe they drink, maybe they, had affairs, maybe. But even in that situation, if you show approach that, things just went this way, I hope she do better, or he do better next time. So when you show compassion and you show respect, because you chose that person, number one, you chose to live with them. So when you say terrible things about them, what does it say about you? If it was so bad, why did you stay there for 15 years?
yeah. And if that's all you can focus on is the
Yeah.
negative, then you're not a you know. I think they want someone with positive energy, not negative energy. And
Yeah, but just,
yeah,
show respect to your ex-partner, because
respect.
regardless,
Yeah.
you signed for it. That was your choice.
Mm-hmm.
It was your choice. You could have left it. We live in a free world. We aren't slaves. We aren't, it's no longer society when you can't. So, whatever circumstances there, it was your choice.
I agree, and I say bottom line is, it rarely does any good to bring up your ex. In fact, if you just move on and don't bring it up, I think that's good. I don't think you need to bring it up to show respect. I
Yes.
think you should just focus on the woman in front of you,
Oh,
not the woman
absolutely. But
behind you, the one in front of you.
right, but at some point we
Yeah,
do ask. I
it
have
could
to say,
come
at
up.
some point,
Yeah,
sometimes earlier or later, we just curious, and it doesn't have to be detailed. You can just generalize and just say, sometimes later on it is important to just know what the person wants in a relationship. So you can actually turn it around, and instead of saying all the bad stuff, you can say like what you really want.
yeah.
Because our bad or negative relationship experience have one positive part. It makes us realize what we really want.
Yes, very good point. So, so, so I agree with you. It's a little bit of a balancing act. Yeah, I agree. Don't
Mm-hmm.
completely bury it, but then also, if it does come up, always shed a positive light on it, and
Mm-hmm.
that it's an opportunity for improvement or something like, always balance. Always show things in
Mm-hmm.
balance. Never show it as totally bad or totally good, but it's just kind of,
Yeah, it's also, I mean, it's just very individual. There is no blueprint. But
right.
when you have a beautiful relationship, for heaven's sakes, don't go into the past and try to see what can go wrong. It just ruins the moment. Don't discuss your ex while you're laying a line in bed with your present woman.
Oh my goodness.
So I have a question to you, David.
Yes.
Um, I think this is crucial for my subscribers, for followers and so
Hmm.
forth. Those guys who had not so happy relationship, here in US, but kind of wanted to look internationally. Can you really um, relate your past issues, here, with American ladies' mentality and, with your frustrations and your pain and, your disappointments? Can you really transfer your experiences and your takeaways that you got from, dating locally to your Ukrainian or Russian potential wife? Can you really transfer those fears or disappointments?
I don't know. I think it's a whole different ballgame, to be honest with you. I think that the Ukrainian woman, from what I can tell in what I've seen firsthand and in videos and things, is a whole different animal. It's a different person, and I think that you can't apply it one for one. I really don't think so. I think that they're unique. I think they're very old-fashioned to some extent, but I also think they're just so loving and caring and endearing that you can't always transfer one to
Mm-hmm.
one from one relationship over here to that relationship over there. I think you need to learn the nuances and and it's all positive for the most part, but you need to be open minded to a whole new kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not like to pollute my mind with a lot of things from the past that I need to look out for, like red flags and things like that. I think it's a
Yeah,
whole different thing.
I would like to say that you're always very thoughtful about these things, and you've
Hmm.
been there, and I just would like to bring the romance part. Like, for example, a lot of men were really hurt in relationships, with local, I don't know how to say, like Western ladies, right?
Right.
Like, let's say, like romance part, or knight in shining armor. Like, many men I talked to, many of my clients would tell me it's the same things, that they really wanted to be that man that takes care, takes pride of their woman, and
That,
they would do romantic things out of the box, and women would really sometimes make fun of them or
hmm
look down on them when they would they just wanted to be this big hero. And um for many women, they just somehow they have this thing that they just do not have appreciation here. But if you are that kind of guy in in Slavic countries, we have a huge appreciation for that.
I agree. It's almost like you're standing there in your armor and your sword, and she just kind of looks at you and says, well, "What are you doing?" I mean, I don't. I can speak for myself. I don't need you to defend me. I don't need you to do this. And you're just a man all dressed up with nowhere to go, and I
Yeah.
think that um, and this is what our upbringing. I mean, you look back here in this country at your grandfather and how he treated your grandmother and your father and your mother, and then you get to your relationship and you're all dressed up like a knight and they kind of like chuckle at you. What are you doing? Why are you dressed like a knight? I don't need a
Mhm.
knight. I can open the door myself. I can speak for myself. You don't have to defend me. And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, and
Hmm.
there's a little bit of that.
So, that is true. And
Hmm.
that's why I was asking this question,
Hmm.
that you cannot really transfer your experiences with a average thinking woman, with an average American woman mentality on your relationship with Slavic lady, because things that, these women did not appreciate, Russian and Ukrainian women are looking forward and praying for. They want a man who want to step in his manhood, who takes pride in taking care. Some men think that, like, I demand things from men. No, it's something different. Like, it's man stepping into his manhood. Feeling that he actually has place, that he's needed, that his role is important, that he is the head of the house. He is a he's a great leader.
Hmm.
And so, and romance. I mean, I can tell you, with the right Ukrainian woman, you can't go wrong with romance. Like,
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think a lot of these qualities you described in the man are deep rooted, but generationally they will disappear because if yeah, unless the American man steps up and has an opportunity to display these qualities
uh-huh.
and to act on them, then his children are going to watch him and they're going to see a different man, a less masculine man. And then generationally, it will all disappear eventually, right? I mean, it's just natural. I
No.
watched my father, I watched my grandfather. In the back of my mind is how a husband or man should act, right? But what do my kids think about me and how I act? And then what will happen when they're in that role? How will they act? You see what I mean? It
Yeah.
but we don't need to get into that. I think that's more of an
Right.
American phenomena than or a Western phenomena to some
Yeah,
degree.
it's interesting when I go somewhere and men open the door for me or do something, I always say thank you out loud. So he keeps doing that. I always make sure that I'm grateful. I always, put some energy. I don't just say like thanks, like I'm half asleep. I'm always thank you. I'm always encouraging. I love men. I think that, um, you know, there is something wrong when we're losing completely our identity.
Hmm.
When man is afraid to open the door or make a compliment or help you to carry a big bag,
Hmm.
I think it's a natural instinct. I know there are people that have no appreciation there, but we can let them carry their own bags. I'm fine with that. Just you know, I have a statement to make about control. This is something about being a controlling woman that's kind of trying to make a child out of the man, and he's like about this big. I have a message to all the feminists, and my message is this: um, real woman, true, beautiful, feminine woman, and smart. She can do everything on her own, but she prefers not to.
Hmm. Good point.
She let her man help her.
Hmm.
She let him to do that, and he takes pride in doing things. You know?
I think that's a good. I think that just summarizes everything we've said. That's
Yeah.
just perfect.
Yes. Control is weak.
Hmm.
So all the women that are, claiming, these things that, we are just as strong. Well, emotional strength is different, and a lot of women are very strong. We have to be strong, but it should not be taken. We are strong on our own. I mean,
Hmm.
we have an important role in this life. We bring. We are a big part, of course. Of continuation of life,
Hmm.
but we are not strong because we're taking something from men. We are just who we
Yeah,
are, and
exactly.
sometimes men needs. I mean, not sometimes. men appreciate our strengths and our flexibility and so many other things. And um,
Hmm.
so,
there is a reason they say your other half. It's because you expect them to do half. It's half and half. It's not three quarters. You don't say the woman doesn't say I'm looking for my other quarter. They're looking for their other half. It's really the two must be partners and they must work together. Not.
yeah, I like the whole human. It's easier to be a partner when you're a whole human. But
Oh.
guys, we have so much to share with you. Uh, our bottom line actually for this video is really, if you really want to be in a new relationship, maybe you need some time, maybe you aren't ready, maybe you need to take some trips, maybe you need to go like on a new diet or exercise routine, maybe you need to live in another town for a week and just let go and switch off all your social media and just recharge and say, okay, maybe you need to see a therapist. There is nothing wrong with that. But clean the old mess, open the windows, let the fresh air in, take the, white piece of paper, new. Before you go to a relationship, just let it open up, clean up, and just start fresh.
Amen.
Yes. Thank you.